Yeah, I mean, Kelsey's been a lot to me. I have always admired how she plays the game and what she brings to a team, and she's just the ultimate competitor, and she does literally leave it all out on the floor.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to TFD. I'm Cordy, and it looks like Kelsey Mitchell is finally addressing all the tension swirling around the Indiana Fever fan base. The media and everyone trying to build a narrative about her role next to Caitlin-Clark. For this one, we're heading straight to Indy. Let's get it. So Kelsey, Pistol, sat down on Sue Bird's podcast, Bird's Eye View, and let's just say she didn't hold back. The conversation got real when Sue asked her what it's like being Caitlin's teammate, how the fit works on the floor, and if this duo can truly click moving forward. And listen, before we even dive into what she said, let's be honest. Fans are already walking into this conversation on defense mode. Kelsey, we rock with you. You've been the heart of this team for years. But when Coach Stephanie White keeps drawing that line in the sand, saying things like, Kelsey Mitchell was our number one priority last summer, and she's our number one priority this summer, she's putting fans in a tough spot. Because statements like that make it sound like Caitlin-Clark isn't the centerpiece. And that's where all this tension begins. When you do that, when you make it seem like one star's rise has to come at the cost of another, you risk breaking the most electric pairing in women's basketball has seen in a long time. And that's exactly what's happening. The dynamic duo of Clark and Mitchell was supposed to be the future, but Coach White's comments keep fueling division instead of unity. Now Kelsey is out here speaking her truth about Caitlin's presence in the locker room, on the floor, and in the spotlight. And while I respect her for it, she's got to be careful, because the fan base, they're already in defense mode. Not by choice, but because Coach White put them there.
Guys, in your locker room. So what do you think, or do you feel like people sometimes just like overlook your leadership specifically and your impact on the team from like a chemistry standpoint, because there's just so many narratives. So like, do you think people are overlooking that?
I think that in a short, yeah. I think naturally, yes, because of the society, the social media, and how bad, people take the social media and abuse it in the wrong realm of light. And so I think that's one part of it. But I also think that it was an adjustment period. And I talked to, the FIFA organization about this. It's like, I think it was an adjustment period that, we all should have adjusted to throughout the course of the organization. I think that, that was big for everybody. Pacers Entertainment, FIFA organization. I felt like at that time, there was a lot of, role playing that had to be, situated. I feel like, that when something that big or someone that big who has that much impact comes into something, there are a lot of adjustments that people have to make on the floor, off the floor, in the locker room, in the training room. Just a lot of stuff is a lot of moving parts. And I think the biggest part that I respected about Caitlin is that she never was bigger than the program. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, it wasn't like she wasn't trying to take over. It wasn't, I don't know how to explain that. You know what I'm trying to say, though?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. It's like she knows who she is. She comes in. She's going to obviously do her part because that's what being a professional athlete is. But with the understanding of fitting into a team, making sure we fit, making sure we have chemistry. So it's never bigger than like the group
it's like
itself.
She wasn't trying to be bigger than everybody. Like within our locker room, she wasn't trying to be bigger than anyone else. And I think the way that her style of play, it ended up complimenting me, ended up complimenting AB. And so like, the one thing I love about Caitlin too is that we all love basketball the same way. We all have our different styles of way of playing it, but the passion for it with Caitlin when she didn't play compared to when she did play remained the same. And like, I respected that about her because it could have easily not been that way. You have people that come in and not want to do or buy in once it's not, or once it don't go their way, or once unfortunate things happen and you can't play and injury happens and you're not getting your body the way you want to. And so I can respect the fact that she kept the program, and she didn't let her passion for it waver because she ended up pouring in more than she thought. And it was dope because she could have easily not been that person.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I would build on what I was saying and add from what I'm hearing from you is like she was like that way in the locker room too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Right, so I
it
get
was
that.
like she wasn't trying to like, you know, you could easily be a certain way, and her thing was just like giving her best. Like she gave us like her best when she was in the locker room.
Yeah, the time I've spent with Caitlin, like she definitely has like, oh, you're like my little sister.
Yes.
Because she likes to like, you know, talk about
She plays a
basketball
lot.
and kind of troll a little
Oh,
bit.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
exactly.
You talking about a kid in the candy store? That's Caitlin.
Yep.
Tutu, she is, but in a good way. She's a live light. And she her personality shows in her game, and it's dope for her.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be an adjustment. When you've got the biggest star in women's sports walking into your locker room, everything changes, like it or not. Wherever Caitlin Clark goes, it's her show. That's not arrogance, that's reality. She brings the cameras, the fans, the attention, and the expectations. So now everybody's got to figure out their role. Batman is already in the building. The rest of y'all got to decide who's Robin, who's Alfred, who's part of the team that makes it all work. Now, to be fair, it sounds like Kelsey Mitchell knew this adjustment was coming. She probably had some real conversations with the ownership and front office about what Caitlin's arrival meant, because it changed everything. And honestly, the early results, man, that post-Olympic break run was beautiful basketball. Kelsey and Caitlin looked like peanut butter and jelly, like butter on toast. It was smooth, effortless, must-see TV. You had Kelsey dropping 20 plus, Caitlin right behind her with another 20, double-digit assists, nearly triple doubles, and the team scoring over 100 points a night. That was magic. But now, that magic feels distorted. Somewhere along the line, the balance got thrown off. Maybe it's the outside noise, maybe it's coaching decisions, but it's clear something changed. And here's the thing, Caitlin's not arrogant. She's not the type to walk in and demand attention. She's confident, but respectful. That's why the chemistry worked. Still, we've reached the point where Caitlin has to assert herself. No more playing nice when the structure around you is trying to minimize your role. When Stephanie White came out and said she's building around Kelsey, that was the moment Caitlin should have drawn her own line in the sand. This is her team, her era. Everyone, coaches, players, staff, needs to get on board or get out of the way. Because the truth is, the Fever only go as far as Caitlin leads them, and it's time for her to take the wheel. No hesitation, no apologies. So, you see, Kelsey Mitchell had nothing but good things to say about Caitlin Clark. Real respect, real appreciation for what she brings to the game. And that's exactly why I still believe this duo can work. They've shown flashes of greatness together. They've proven they can share the floor, share the spotlight, and still dominate. But here's the thing. I'm not so sure this partnership can truly flourish with Stephanie White at the helm. Because let's keep it real. Stephanie White is trying to mess up the pecking order. She's trying to rebuild the hierarchy and make this Kelsey Mitchell's team when that's just not what it is. That's not reality. You've got the face of women's basketball, the one bringing national attention, sold-out arenas, and record-breaking viewership. That's Caitlin Clark. You can't ignore that, and you can't coach like it doesn't matter. What made this pairing special was balance. Caitlin's vision and shooting combined with Kelsey's speed and scoring. But when the coach starts forcing a narrative that it's one player's team over the other, it kills chemistry. You can't have two stars if you refuse to let them shine together. So yeah, I'll say it again. This duo can absolutely work, but not under a leadership that's dividing instead of uniting. Stephanie White has to stop drawing lines and start building bridges, because if she doesn't, she's gonna lose both the locker room and the fan base. But that's just my take. Now I want to hear from y'all. Get down in the comments, let me know what you think about this situation. Can Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell truly thrive together, or is Stephanie White standing in the way of something special? As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.